Hi, welcome to live stream Yoga with Louise, tips and cues to keep you safe and strong on the mat. Today we are going to be fashioning a web of core-centric work, playing low to the mat. As always, play where you're comfortable, modify when you need to, rest when you need to. You ready? Let's hit the mat. We're going to begin today's practice coming into a bridge-like frame on the mat. Find your way onto the back, bend your knees, round your feet, arms long and lengthened at your side. We are going to fashion ourselves a modified 100 pattern, and we're going to play out the arms and the breath today. Start in neutral pelvis, neutral spine. Take a big breath in. On an exhale, give me a 12 o'clock tilt through the pelvis. Imprint your lower and your mid back. Engage the front chain of your core and bleed up into a chest lift. Arms at hip height. You're going to inhale for 5 as you slowly beat the arms. Then you're going to exhale for 5 as you tap and hold into the floor. Inhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Last one. Reconnect to the mat and articulate up into a bridge line, peeling your back line off the mat and holding steady, activating those glutes, quads, hamstrings, and stretching from your belly line to the knee line. Peel back down. Take a recovery breath. And then articulate right back up to hold your bridge once you've found it. Articulate down again. We've got one more set to go. And then back into our 100. Reconnect to the mat. From neutral, find your full tilt and imprint and bleed up into your chest and arm lift. Draw the legs one at a time into table, lock them in position, and start to play with the arms. Inhaling for 5 as you beat. Exhaling as you tap and hold. Inhale for 5, beat the arms. Exhale for 5, ground and hold. Melt back down to the mat. We're articulating back up into the bridge, and this time you're going to float the arms with you. Start to peel off the mat, starting to lift the arms and stopping when your hands are stacking over your shoulders. Hold for a slow count of 10. Use those legs. Keep the arms where they are and articulate only your back line back down to the mat. Take recovery and then peel back up for your second hold. Keep the arms floating and reconnect your back line. One more hold, and then back into our 100 pattern. Reconnect to the mat. Relax the arms alongside the body and extend the legs on the mat. Give me a full tilt and imprint, bleed up into your chest lift, and then lift the legs and give me a soft U frame. Start to find your 100. Inhaling to beat for 5, exhaling to tap and hold for 5. Make this your last one. Then bend your knees, round your feet, and prepare for your bridge articulations. This time we're going to float the hands to arrive on the mat behind us. Articulate up when you're ready, floating the arms and relaxing the back of your hands to the mat and holding your bridge for 10. Keep your arms where they are and bleed just your back line down to the mat. Lead back up, keeping the weight of your shoulders pressing equally into the mat throughout. Peel back down. One more set to go, and then we'll start to fashion our next movement pattern. When you articulate down from your last bridge, you're going to keep the arms where they are overhead on the mat. We'll play right leg only. Begin in neutral, find your tilt and imprint, use it to bleed your right leg up, and then float the arms to arrive overhead, pressing into an imaginary weight with your hands and with your working knee. Then float back down. Repeat 9 more times. Hold your last one, and then think about how you can use your current frame to come into some one-legged bridge thrusts. In one fluid movement, you're going to lift your back and your hips off the mat, and then bleed back down, trying to ground on your shoulders and your stabilizing leg, giving yourself anywhere between 3 to 5 repeats. Reconnect your floating foot, but keep your arms extended and floating where they are. Take a big breath in. On an exhale, tilt and imprint, bleed up into a chest lift, dropping your arms alongside your hips, contracting your abs, and then inhaling to float back down to your start position. Rinse and repeat. Hold your last contraction. Then reconnect head, shoulders, and arms to the mat overhead. We're going to come into a combination movement, and our working leg is going to be the right leg only. Start in neutral. Find your tilt and invert. Engage your abs to draw the right knee up to table. Scoop up into a chest lift, floating the arms alongside your hips. Find that contraction in the belly. Pause, and then reground to the mat to repeat. We're going to hold the last one, and we're going to use it to set up our 100. Beating for 5 on the inhale, tapping to hold for 5 on the exhale. Last one. Reconnect to the mat and extend your legs long and lengthened on the mat. We're coming into a drag pattern, and we'll play single, single, double. Let's start right. Drag the big toe along the mat, and then come back to your start position. Repeat on the left, and then double up, dragging both together, and then bleeding your way back. Keep playing with that drag pattern. You're allowing for a neutral spine, but you are making your belly button as heavy as you can. Let's add to this pattern. You're going to drag on the right, you're going to kick up to the sky, and you're going to retrace your path back to grace. The pattern is still single, single, double. Let's add to that pattern. On your first working side, find your drag, find your kick, and then drop. Repeat on the second side, and then double up. Coming down nice and slow on that drop pattern. Last set. And then we'll find our way onto the side of the body. Setting yourself up low to the mat in one long stack. We can repeat the pattern we just played with, but using just the top leg. So you're going to drag and return on the top leg. Then you're going to add a kick and a return. Then we're going to drag, kick to drop. Last one. You're going to stay low to the mat, or you're going to find your way onto the elbow of the bottom arm without collapsing. So coming out through the shoulder, rib cage up nice and high. We're going to step up the top leg and we're going to ground it. Maybe holding from the front or holding from behind. We're going to use the top of the inseam of the bottom leg to find a small lifting and lowering pattern. So you're not driving from the foot, you're driving from the inner thigh. We're going to end in the lift and we're going to use our big toe to trace a small clockwise circle, tracing the circumference of a golf ball. Then keeping that limb long, you're going to give me a leg pull behind the hip line and back. Don't bend the knee, don't flick the leg up. So keep a long lever-like leg. Then bend the bottom leg. Take your top hand, press the knee away and drop down through the shoulder while looking towards the back end of your mat. Then take your top hand, drop it to the mat just below your waistline and re-stagger your other hand a little bit further away, pressing into both hands. Think of this as a modified side cobra. Then slide your bottom leg away, making space for your top bum cheek to come down onto the mat. Take a seat, twist towards your top knee, grasping for the outside of that knee, and coming into a little half-lord seated twist. Open up from here into a straddle line. Taking a moment to just wiggle the legs, release into them. We're going to walk our hands forward as far as they will go, or you're going to find a drop down onto the forearms. Almost pressing and clawing into our fingers and dragging our body weight forward. Whether you're on the forearms or on the palms, you're going to start to take an off-center walk to the right, stopping when you hit your nearest leg, pressing and resisting with either the elbows or the palms. Then take a creep back to the middle. Pause, look to lengthen the line of your spine and your trunk. Then take your off-center walk to the left, hitting when you hit the nearest leg, or stopping when you hit the nearest leg. That makes sense. Creep your way back to the middle. Then sit up nice and tall and pivot on the mat to come to a few cross ankle spinal rolls. Maybe 5 of them, crossing right leg over left. We're going to end on the back. And you're going to come to your original bridge-like frame to repeat that whole sequence on the second side. We're coming into our modified 100. Give me a tilt and imprint. Lead up into your chest and arm lift and start to find the breath work. Inhaling for 5 as you slowly beat the arms. Exhaling to tap and hold. Lead back down to the mat. Keep the arms relaxed at your side and articulate up into your first bridge hold, making sure that you're activating your legs to hold the bridge line. Keep your chin relaxed towards your chest and look for that stretch through your belly, through your thighs. Lead back down and take recovery. Articulate back up, making sure you're running through the length of your spine, and then set your hold. Articulate back down with care. Take recovery. And when you're ready, come into your last hold. Lead back down. Give yourself 2 or 3 recovery breaths. Back to our 100 pattern. When you're ready, full tilt and imprint, lead up into your chest and arm lift, lock that height in, and draw your legs into table. Inhale slowly for 5 as you beat the arms. Exhale for 5 to tap and hold. Last one. Lead back down to the mat. Let's find our way back into our arm float bridge. As you peel your back line off the mat, you start to raise the arms in tandem, stopping at the height of your bridge with your hands stacking over your shoulders. Hold. Keep your arms where they are and reconnect your back line, one nodule of the spine at a time. Take recovery. Peel back up when you're ready, holding once you've found the height of your bridge. Reconnect your back line to the mat, keeping your arms floating throughout. Last one. As you peel down on the last one, bring your arms down with you. Once you've re-grounded to the mat, extend the legs in parallel. Coming back into our 100. You're going to tilt, imprint, bleed up into your chest and arm lift, add a double leg lift, and then start to find your 100 pattern. Inhaling to beat, exhaling to tap and hold. The last one. Find your way back to your bridge setup. Last set of working bridges. You're going to articulate up into your bridge, floating your arms all the way to arrive overhead on the mat behind you. Chin pressed right up against your chest, using those legs to really work that bridge. Keep your arms on the mat and reconnect your back and your bum line to the mat. We're going up twice more, leading up when you're ready, and then holding for a slow count of 10 once you've found it. Keep your feet and your knees in parallel throughout. Keep your arms on the mat overhead and reconnect your back line to the mat. We're going to play left leg only. Begin in neutral. Find your tilt and imprint. Bring your left leg into table and draw the arms up, stopping with your hands over the shoulders, pressing into an imaginary weight with your palms and your working leg. Then float back down. Shoot for 9 repeats. Pausing in that imaginary press every time. Hold your last one. Think about how you can use this line to come into some one-legged bridge thrusts. Shoot for between 3 to 5 repeats. Then reconnect your feet to the mat. Hands are still floating and reaching for the sky. We're coming into some chest lifts. Big breath in. Tilt, imprint, bleed up into the scoop and drop the arms alongside your hips. Then float the arms back to your start position as you reconnect your head and shoulders. Hold your next contraction. Then reconnect head, shoulders, and arms overhead to the mat behind you. Give yourself at least 3 recovery breaths. We're going to combine those 2 movement patterns together and be working left leg only. Begin in neutral. Find your full tilt and emperor, drawing the left leg up, scooping up into a chest lift and floating the arms alongside. Shoot for 9 more repeats. Hold your last one and use it to transition into your 100 pattern. Inhaling to beat for 5. Exhale to tap and hold for 5. Reconnect to the mat and extend your legs long and lengthened on the mat. Hold a neutral spine as we start to find that little drag pattern through the legs. We're going to drag and return right, drag and return left, then double up. Shoot for roughly 5 repeats before we change the pattern. Let's change it. We're going to drag, we're going to kick, and we're going to return the same path. Single, single, double. Find your rhythm, find your pattern. Not rushing through the movement, controlling, weaving your web. Let's change the pattern. We're going to drag, we're going to kick, and we're going to drop. Single, single, double. Controlling those legs as they come down in the drop pattern. So you need to keep those abs working to bring the leg down slow and controlled. Hovering almost for a second just above the floor before you release. Last one, then we'll find our way onto the side of the body, setting ourselves up low to the mat in one long stack. We're going to play with the top leg, finding a drag and return. Then add a kick and return along the same path. Now let's add a drop into the mix, pausing almost before you start the next one. So as you drop, pause, and then start again. Last one. We're going to press up onto the elbow of the bottom arm. Strong through the shoulder, keep the ribs up nice and high. We're going to bend and ground on the top leg. We're going to use the inseam of the bottom leg to find our lifting pattern. End in the lift, and then use your big toe to trace that clockwise circle, tracing the circumference of a small ball. Let's make it a golf ball. Then keeping your working limb long, you're going to give me a leg pull behind the hip line and back, trying to keep that limb as long as you can. Last one. We're going to bend the bottom leg as we reground it. We're going to make space for our bum, so remember to make space when you come up. And we're going to find that press, drop down through the top shoulder, and then look towards the end of the mat. Then set up your staggered arm line on the mat and rotate the top of your trunk to look towards the top end of your mat. Holding your little modified cobra for a bit. Walk your way from here into a little half lord seated twist, making sure to make space for your bum bones as you arrive in that seat. And then opening up from here into a straddle line. Wiggling around for a little bit if you need to just open up through those inner thighs. And then finding your creep forward to either just keep those arms long and extended or doing a forearm drop here. Pausing here for a few breaths, and we're going to hold for between 20 to 30 seconds. Pressing into our palms, almost dragging through the fingers and trying to lengthen the line of our trunk. Keep your legs long, keep your feet softly braced. Then take an off-center creep to the left, stopping when you hit the leg. Resist and hold. Lead your way back to the middle. Pause. Then take your off-center creep to the second side. Pressing and resisting when you hit the inseam of that leg. Lead your way back to the middle for your last hold. Then ease your way from here into a butterfly seat, bringing the soles of your feet loosely together, holding onto your ankles or your feet. Start to bum walk closer towards your heels. Wrap your hands around your feet, and then start to softly pull your feet up towards the sky. Drop your knees to the floor. Grow your spine, but drop your bum bones and your shoulders. Hold, breathe. Then create a little bit of distance between your heels and your perineum. Ground the feet, bring the knees together, and hug them. This is where we're going to end off today's practice, just taking a long stretch into the spine, and then exhaling to nod chin to chest. Thank you so much for making time to come out and play with me today. This was a special class for me today. This class is dedicated to Charlotte's Web, one of my longtime students who unfortunately passed from a heart attack. Rest in peace, Tinkerbell. Your thoughts, or you are in my thoughts constantly. Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming to join. Till next time, keep it light.